What's up, Cloud Gamers? Welcome to another CGX Talk. It's pretty cool to see we finally got all of us here. So I feel like the discussion piece is going to be pretty good today. We're going to just give an overall roundup of cloud gaming for the year so far. We're going to talk about cloud game platforms that we thought did the best. We're going to talk about our experience, and also we're going to look at things that might need some improvement. So if that's something you guys are interested in, stick around because I think this is going to be a good discussion overall. But let's take a sec to say what's up to the members of the channel. Chief, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, finally all three.
Yeah.
Proper CGX talk today.
Yeah. Awesome. Monkey, how are you, sir?
I am very well, thanks, Ace. And as Chief said, this is going to be great with all three of us today. Can't wait.
For sure, for sure. So let's get right into it, right? So I'm just going to start with the thoughts on cloud gaming so far this year. So just going to open this up to you guys, and you guys just let me know how cloud gaming has been for you so far in the beginning of the year. So to start with this, Chief, what's your take on it?
Disappointing. I think, personally, last year, Stadia came out all guns blazing, and that's kind of all fizzled out this year. Xbox Cloud has gone all out, but not all of the X blades out there that we were hoping for. Obviously, still quite a mixed bag overall.
Chief started there. Sort of disappointed. I thought we were going to kick on a bit. But at the same time, I understand, why we haven't seen such drastic improvements, and, not one platform has taken the limelight just yet, because cloud gaming is still a niche. Xbox cloud gaming is still too inconsistent for the mass user base right now that are on it. As consistent as Stadia are, the content is lacking. And even though there's loads of content for GeForce now, they are lacking the big publishers. And, so they all have their upsides, they all have their downsides, and it's sort of interesting seeing where they're going to go, who's going to come out on top. Absolutely every single one of them can make improvements. And, God, who's going to be top dog still remains to be seen, because there will only be one. I don't care what anyone says. There is only going to be one platform that comes out as the most used. Whoever has the most popular content for the masses, will inevitably win this race to popularity.
Monkey, so you don't view this as, let's say, the streaming services right now, to where there's multiple, we have our HBO Max, we have our Hulu and Netflix, right? So you're saying cloud gaming is only going to be one, Victor? There can be like multiple services existing?
Yeah, I don't see it. I just, it's I'm going to get crucified for that. But I don't see it, because I think we're getting to a stage now where, there is multiple services, but how much of a pain in the ass is it switching between them all the time, having to pay multiple subscriptions? You could say, oh, but I just don't need to pay for this one this month. But inevitably you forget and you keep paying for it, and then eventually there's nothing going to come. Like Stadia Pro, for example, I'm paying for that, but I am not using it. None of the games are relevant to me. The 4K is not relevant to me, because none of the games are really in 4K. I'm the same with streaming services. I've just stuck to one, and it's the one where I enjoy the most. And I think the cloud space is going to go that way. I think whoever has the most content and most popular content will be the one that streaks away in the end. But we're a few years away from that. There's still loads of time to see what happens.
Yeah, that's so interesting. We think so differently. I do see cloud gaming being more of like what's going on with the streaming media right now, where there's multiple, right? And I think actually that can be an advantage when it comes to cloud gaming as a whole, because again, if you want like your Microsoft exclusives, you have xCloud to do that. Hopefully when Sony wakes up and realizes the importance of cloud gaming, they'll bring the exclusive to the cloud. And so if you want Sony's exclusive, you have that. So it's like an a la carte type situation where you have multiple cloud gaming options. And I think in a way that's the beauty of cloud gaming. I mean, I get what you're saying with simplicity of having just one place that has all the games that you want. That'll be fair, but I don't know. I don't see that happening. But again, it's too early to call, but I think it's definitely something to continue looking into and being mindful of. Beginning of this year, man, like you guys were saying, it was quite interesting because this was, I thought, supposed to be the year that cloud gaming takes off. And then we have the Google Stadia closure, first party studios, and then we have the shadow nonsense that was going on, right? So again, it started off rough, but with the improvement that Microsoft is making with the xCloud, with Luna possibly getting out of beta soon, hopefully, right? And with GeForce Now just ramping things up, I think this year might end up being a banger, like we call it on this channel. So it's just we gotta wait and see. But yeah, I agree with you guys. It's still kind of too early for cloud gaming.
No, I do agree with how Monkey. The fragmentation's getting appalling now, and it's been a real disappointing start to the year. When I say start, we're over halfway through the year now, and Stadia still seems to be plodding along, nowhere near what it was putting out last year. It's committed to half the amount of games that it put out last year. We're not seeing a lot of those features rolled out. We're only really seeing the features catching up to what was promised on launch. So they're still almost 2 years behind on that front. And all the features that they did give us that were supposed to be groundbreaking features, nobody's using. So Stream Connect, don't see it in any new games. Haven't seen it since the original Ubisoft games that launched with it. Crowd play, they keep trying to pitch it and throw it, and it's just not sticking. People just aren't using it. Major streamers aren't just taking it on board. Same with crowd choice, nobody really cares. There's no real games on there, and same with state share. None of these features have really been big enough to draw any attention and just been forgotten about. And then we have the YouTube direct streaming, which was almost brilliant, but because it hasn't got the chat support, hasn't got camera support, everybody's gone back to using OBS or Streamlabs OBS. And it's just such a shame that most of these features keep coming out that are just half-baked, it seems. Then we have Amazon Luna. And I said it when they launched out of beta at the end of last year, it's too early. And people go, oh, this is going to mean they're going to be like out of global scene. I said, no, I bet they've reacted to Stadia doing their push and wanted to get out before xCloud, and they're not ready. And here we are, 8 months later, and Amazon Luna is still in US beta only. So where are they, Luna? Come on. The rest of the world is calling. They seem to be trying to push all this stuff out, and again, people are losing interest because the world is bigger than the US. No offense, guys, but it is a lot bigger than just the US. And then we have xCloud throwing everything at Series S, X-Blaze, Game Pass Ultimate. They're really pushing cloud. It's now in the PC app, giving it to every Game Pass Ultimate member, sending out push notifications, in-app notifications saying, hey guys, don't forget if you're Ultimate subscriber, you have access to all this cloud stuff too now. But the quality's still not there, and it's still very mixed. So it just feels like this should have been the year for cloud gaming, but it's almost the year of almost good enough. And it's still almost good enough, and it's not quite there yet. And I know that the next question is going to get me in a lot of trouble. So
let's segment to the next question, right? So next question is, which platform would you say impressed you the most so far this year? So we're going to open that up to Monkey. Go ahead, sir.
For me, this year, GeForce Now has taken over my game streaming time. The quality is fantastic. I love the 1080 detail that I get. The stream quality is so smooth. You know, it used to be absolutely terrible for me when I first picked up GeForce Now, so I did. And then I sort of went to Stadia, tried out Stadia, and then I was like, oh, this is great. And then I kept dipping back in and out of GeForce Now, but just this year, man, I don't know what they're doing. There's maybe the software updates and that they've been implementing, plus the games. As an avid PC gamer, seeing a ton of games from the Steam library that really intrigues me from the independent developers has just been fantastic. That's where I've spent most of my time for absolutely sure, but there is still some improvements that I think that they need to do, but I think we're going to get onto that in a little bit. So for me, GFN has been the best. I think they've just improved so much, and I can't wait to see what else that they're going to do.
All right, thanks for that, Monkey. How about for you, Chief? Which platform impressed you the most so far this year?
None of them. And this is why I'm going to be in trouble. So my biggest downfall of getting my new rig is I upgraded my monitor to 1440. And this has meant that every cloud service that I've played has had a stretched 1080 image. And it's just been disappointing for me. And it's not a real fault of the cloud services because they are mostly 1080 streaming. But I've moved on from 1080 now, and I know a lot of PC gamers are in the process of moving from 1080 to 1440, which means streaming on my monitor now is disappointing. I have to either switch to my iPad or the Shield or something else, because I just feel that playing on 1440 with that stretched image just doesn't look good enough anymore. And Stadia, even with its 4K on a PC monitor, I've said it, even when I had a 1080 monitor, it just doesn't look good enough on a PC. So this is where it's been quite disappointing for me across the board. Now, with GeForce Now's adaptive VSync, it's definitely helped and the quality has definitely improved, but it's still not quite there for me. And because I upgraded my PC for content, cloud is making me install games more. And I'm seeing the gap of the benefits of cloud versus the benefits of local hardware getting smaller and smaller. Now, they're doing some amazing things with preloads, with rolling updates, and same with the console. And I'm waiting. Cloud needs to up their game now. And I think xCloud is probably going to get there first with the pace that they're keeping. But I feel that all cloud is starting to slip, with the RTX 30 series becoming back in stock, getting more 3060s, 70s, as well as the 80s, 90s, the TIs. The next generation graphics cards are starting to roll out a lot. And one of the points that you said earlier, Ace, is the reason why this gap is getting smaller, because of the fragmentation, because of having to have multiple services, having to pay extra on those services to get the extra quality like Stadia. You're looking at £30-40 a month now to pay for all services and the Ubisoft Plus. So you're looking at $40-50 a month. And if you throw Shadow in there, that's another $30 a month. You're now up to $60-70 a month. You can now finance a 30 series machine for 2 years for the same cost that you're paying for those cloud. So the benefits are cloud is getting too close to just buying physical hardware. So I think for me, cloud needs to step up their game now, and for me, that's why it's just disappointing across the board.
Well, thanks for that, Chief. You're probably gonna hear it in the comments for that, but no, I respect it. And you guys, again, this is why we do this, right? People want to know more about us. People want to know what our interests are, what our favorite platforms are. So that's why we're having conversation pieces like these, right? But no, I would say this year the platform that impressed me the most so far has to be Xbox Cloud Gaming. Again, Stadia started off with bad news. You had bad news for Shadow. I would say GeForce Now has been out of the bad news limelight, which is a good thing. But suspecting by now we'll see the Ampere, 3000 series graphics for GeForce Now, and hopefully 4K by now. They've been out of beta for quite some time. But I would have to say, they are doing a lot to kind of try to get the games back. And I would say when it comes to exclusives, GeForce Now has done a good job getting games that differentiates them from other platforms like Google Stadia games with like Valheim and Kena whenever that decides to come. But I would say Xbox Cloud Gaming right now has made the most improvement because they give us a roadmap saying these are the features that we're trying to bring to Xbox Cloud Gaming. To see it happen in real time, right? The Series X Blade upgrade. I know we were hoping for it to be like 4K, but to see them say that they're gonna do that, and they did it even earlier than we were anticipating, and then the games that they bring into Game Pass and Xbox Cloud Gaming, and then with the drive of bringing cloud gaming to like the new Windows, it seems like Microsoft sees the benefit of cloud gaming, and I think this year they've been making the most push for cloud gaming as a whole. So I would have to say so far, right now, Xbox Cloud Gaming is the platform that's impressing me the most. And GeForce Now right under that. All right, so I'm gonna segment to the next question, right? What has been the biggest surprise for you guys so far this year? Anyone can answer. Just gonna open it up.
Ray tracing on xCloud. Where did that come from? That was a big surprise for me. I was hoping for it. We know we've been waiting for ray tracing in the cloud beyond GeForce Now for some time, and I did not expect it to come from the Xbox Cloud Gaming camp, especially not this soon. As I said, we hoped for it with the Series X blades, but it was there. And also, what's impressed me is the amount of day and date releases GeForce Now is getting. They're not for everyone a lot of the time, but they are getting a lot of day and date releases now. So kudos to them. But I'd say that those are my two biggest surprises so far.
How about for you, Monkey?
Bring on the hate. The biggest surprise for me, and it's not a good one, it was the closure of SG&E. No, look, I was extremely disappointed when that happened, because the way they were speaking and what brought me into the Stadia platform in the beginning and that ecosystem, was the possible availability of cloud native games, and that they were going to do stuff and implement features that could only be done in the cloud. And now we have to wait for that. Now we have to wait until Xbox decide to do it, and that's going to be a few years away, because they are still advertising for positions in that department. So they have initiated they've initiated the process. They're looking to hire people, to begin that sort of running to the cloud native games. That's a while away, but it really disappointed me, and it was a big surprise in the sense that it just came out of nowhere, man. They had just recently purchased some studios, which we know was in the news today, Tycoon, for instance, and then boof, it was gone, and you're just like, what does this mean now? Like, are we going to be able to play these games? What's happening to the studios? What's happening to all the employees? And we're learning what's happened now. That was the biggest surprise, and at the same time the biggest cloud gaming disappointment for me, followed closely by Chief's suggestion there, which was the ray tracing and xCloud. That was Hellblade is absolutely stunning looking with the ray tracing implemented in the cloud, man. I couldn't believe that. It is so gorgeous.
It really, really is. And Monkey, I would have to piggyback off what you said with the closures, the first-party studios. That definitely was the biggest surprise for me too. No, I don't think any. It's even funny because I don't think people who worked at Stadia saw that coming. They say, like, when you read the article, most of them like sounded surprised that that the first party studio was shutting down. But yeah, when that happened, definitely knocked the wind out of me. You guys know I'm a Stadia enthusiast. I really like the platform, but again, just taking that promise of not being able to have cloud, games designed specifically just for the cloud, taking advantage of that power. It's a promise that they made, and having that stripped away definitely was the biggest surprise, and not for in a good way. That would be my biggest surprise. So let's move into the next segment, right? What game have you guys, let's say, what platform and what games have you guys played the most this year? So Chief, let's start with you on that.
I actually think probably it's gonna still have been Control, with ray tracing on GeForce Now. Is probably my most played game in the cloud, followed by Cyberpunk, and that was also on GeForce Now because of the ray tracing. And this is what I mean about ray tracing being the biggest surprise coming from the Xbox Cloud Gaming camp, because we've been hoping for it and pushing for it from the Stadia camp for a long time. We keep seeing these RDNA 2 updates and all the AMD stuff, and that Stadia was supposedly already RTX or ray tracing capable. We just never saw any games with it. So we always thought that the next person to introduce ray tracing in the cloud would be Stadia. So for Xbox Cloud to beat them to the punch on that is just another blow to Stadia in my book. But most of my time has been spent with GeForce Now because 2 reasons. 1, the ray tracing in the games, and 2, because if I did then go and install it on my PC, I know all my saves and cross progression. There is no cross progression because it's the PC version, so I would just be able to pick up exactly where I left off. So I can install it on Shadow, maximum settings, or play it on GeForce Now, and my progress is all the same. The cloud saves are the same. And that's one of the biggest problems that I have with a lot of these cloud games at the moment, is that there's no cross progression. So if you did want to hop between services because either it gets rotated out of Game Pass or there's an issue with maintenance on GeForce Now, you're locked in then, because that's where all your saves are. And I think that's why I drift more towards GeForce Now side, because I can use virtual PCs, I can use my local PC or GeForce Now, and I know that the save game's not going to be an issue.
Agreed with that. And it's interesting that you talked about like cross progression, and I was thinking of a game like a Plague of Innocent, whatever the game is called. I was playing it on Luna, right? And I was thinking, because again, if you know, Luna is the Windows based port. I was like, it would be cool if I can just pick this up on GFN and continue where I left off. And the fact that you can't is kind of a bummer. But I do hope with cloud gaming, I know Ubisoft right now is killing it with Ubisoft Plus. It's safe progression throughout all their titles. And so I love that, but I hope we see that more. But let's check in with you, Monkey. What is your most played game, and what platform have you played the most this year?
It would have been Stadia, probably, believe it or not. Going from the beginning of the year, as anyone knows and you guys know, I was part of the Stadia racing community. I still am. The guys still have semi-regular races. It's a bit slow right now, though. When F1 2020 went on pro at the beginning of the year, our racing community sort of blew up, so it did. With so many more players being able to access the game, who maybe didn't want to lay down, the 40, 50, 60 pounds for either of the 3 versions. It's not a good game on Stadia, unfortunately. It's actually dreadful, but we stuck with it because the group that we were playing with, and the host, the game host, the tournament organisers, everyone was just so friendly. We were a really good group. We helped one another try and improve. If anyone was having issues with the game, we were right on the Codemasters and the forums, etc., trying to get improvements made. So probably from the first 2 or 3 months of the year there, it would have been F1 2020 on Stadia, because we were doing loads of different events, different tournaments, and it actually made a really bad game, a real bad port of the game, enjoyable because of who we were playing with.
That's true. Again, having a community of people to play. And that's something, shout outs to Stadia in the community. I feel like sometimes, right, they do well is that the community likes to get together to do stuff and to play games and to interact. But I would say that's something at least positive, right? You can give to the Stadia community. But as far as for me, same thing. Most played platform this year has been Stadia, and some of you guys might know the game NBA 2K is a game I've put in a lot of hours. So kind of bummed out that 22 might not be coming to this platform. Have to find a solution for that. Maybe Shadow PC. We'll see. But as far as the games, 2K, and I would have to say Rogue Company. That's a game that I put in a lot of hours to this year as well. But yeah, those are my top 2 games, I would say, that I've played a lot this year in the cloud, for sure. All right, so the next part is the final part. Last question. How do you see the rest of the year playing out? And also, which platform do you guys see winning 2021 when it's all said and done? So, Chief, let's start with you on this question. So you take.
It's a tough one because I think if Luna actually comes out of beta this year, I think they've got a good chance of at least giving GeForce Now a run for its money. But the way things are going at the moment, I think Xbox Cloud Gaming are going to win 2021. My biggest issue with xCloud still is consistency. I think we were all hoping that with the Xbox Series X or S rollout, that all games would have been upgraded to the Series S or X versions or X Blades, and they weren't. So it's still quite a mixed bag. You don't know whether you're going to be on a 1S Blade or a Series S Blade or a Series X Blade. So Hellblade definitely looks like it might be on a Series X, but I've been seeing reports that it's actually 30 FPS in visual mode, so it might actually be the S Blade. And there's no way of telling that. So we've got quite a lot of fragmentation in Xbox Cloud Gaming now because there's now 3 different rigs that it could be on. And we know that the mix of rigs problem has been a GeForce Now issue for some time. So I think whoever can get the consistency and a higher quality consistency will win out 2021. But at the moment, it could be xCloud, it could be GeForce Now, but it could also be a very much outlier of Shadow actually dropping maybe some upgraded hardware now that they've got some form of stability, and that I know that they're in the middle of migrating all their data centers over to OVH. Once that's completed, which is due this month, I believe, I think September is the final ports of everybody over to OVH. Could we see a comeback for Shadow after a very, very bad start to the year? It's anybody's game at the moment, but I think consistency is the biggest problem in the cloud at the moment with every platform, whether it's Stadia, Xbox Cloud, or GeForce Now. No game is consistently good quality. It's a very mixed bag of what time of day, what the game was ported like. So whoever gets that right, I feel, will win out 2021.
Awesome. Fair enough. How about for you, Monkey?
For me, whoever brings the most popular content, and right now that is going to be a battle between Xbox and GeForce Now. Xbox, because they have multiple first party exclusives coming, along with all the day-and-date third-party games that they are dropping on Xbox Game Pass, and a number of those we see in the cloud on a regular basis as well right now. GeForce Now, in terms of content, you might not think it's the best quality. That's always seems to be the argument. But for me, the quality of games in GeForce Now is actually probably the best, because if they ain't good, they take them down. They might not always tell you that they're taking them down, but they take them down and put them under maintenance and get it right. And that's the thing I think that Nvidia should be sort of heralded for. They don't want a poor game on the platform if it's not running well. They're going to take it down. Chief, you mentioned Shadow, man. They honestly they could come back like a phoenix from the ashes, because we know Shadow has been the number one full blown cloud PC, since this era began. They really need to come back, and they need to come back swinging. They lost a lot of trust in their user base. But, and I think I said it last week with you, Ace, if Xbox can just get that quality right in the cloud, I don't think anyone can touch them in terms of content. PlayStation Now is a sleeping giant. It's a sleeping giant. They have some fantastic games in there, but they just need to. They need to get some. They need to get some more first-party games on there and make that a worthwhile payment option on the monthly. Yeah, I don't see past Xbox, man. Just for content, I think at the end of the day, gamers want as much content as possible. They want the most popular content, something that's going to grasp as many people as possible, and I think that's going to be Xbox.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for that, Monkey. So, man, this year is going to be quite interesting because I personally believe it's still up for the takings for everyone, right? GeForce Now, I mean, if we saw the interview that was done saying that, it's a matter of when they can get all these big games back, right? If they can bring 4K this year, end of this year, bring the Empire, which they said last year that they were going to bring to GeForce Now, again, get those Activision, EA games, Capcom games back to the platform, they do have a shot, right? Luna, once they launch to more countries, right, to get more channels, imagine like an EA channel or a Capcom or Activision channel giving us Battlefield in the cloud. I mean, they can kill it, right? Stadia, I believe they can do well as well. Here's what I think Stadia needs to do. They need to hold another event, right? Right now, like we talked about, I think it was at the podcast, what's next for this platform? No one knows, right? Again, you look at all the contract they had with 2K, you look at the contract that they had with EA, those 5 games all done. If they can hold a Stadia Connect and be like, look guys, I know you guys want games. We have been talking with our partners. These are the new games that we're bringing to the platform. So all these games like the New Judgment, like Battlefield that no one thought was coming, if they can sign new contract to get those games to the platform, here's the thing, these publishers now, because they've brought the games to Google Stadia, hopefully the porting process should be easy. And again, with the new announcement they made from the Dev Summit with porting Windows-based games to Stadia being a lot easier. So they still have a shot. But I think when it's all said and done, the platform that's going to kill it this holiday season, based on exclusives, it's got to be Xbox Cloud Gaming. And again, we're seeing them. I know we've talked about like inconsistency, but we're seeing them like making upgrades. I would say out of anyone, they're the ones like really pushing cloud the most. They have the biggest hitters coming out with the new Halo, Forza. We talked about the Ascent, we talked about Psychonaut 2, Flight Simulator. If they get Battlefield, it's a wrap, right? So I would say they are posed to make the biggest noise this holiday season. But again, like you were saying with PlayStation, they can still be in the count. Shadow, they can still be in the count. Luna, definitely. Stadia still. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how this year plays out and who takes it all. But yeah, guys, that is the discussion piece for this week. Thank you guys for your input. And it was good just having all 3 of us here finally chatting it up. I like these, and I appreciate you guys being here for it. And we will be back next week with another discussion piece. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace out, y'all.